Hi guys, in today's discussion of the book How I Became a Hindu by Goel, we start the heroic last chapter called Nightmare of Nehruism. Now Goel wrote the rest of the book in 1982, but he went back and added this last chapter in 1993 because a lot of his views and his tone had changed about a lot of things he saw all around him. Now I won't be reading any section of the book for this video because I need to give you first of all a gist of the entire last chapter, which I wrote in a review of the book that didn't get accepted in any website that I sent, but I did write a very nice and precise and concise gist of the entire last chapter because everyone needs a context for this last chapter and why his tone changed all of a sudden for the people who haven't read the book and are maybe seeing this video for the first time. And as we go on in the next videos, we will go specifically in some interesting sections of that last chapter. Now let me read out my review, my gist of the last chapter. The last chapter, which is the longest in the book, is a drastic shift in tone from the rest of the book. Up until the last chapter called Nightmare of Nehruism, the reader will get the impression that the book is written by a sweet and polite, wide and starry-eyed kid bouncing around from this ideology and philosophy to that ideology and philosophy. In contrary, Goel writes the last chapter 11 years after the book's first publication and is now a focused, clear-headed and intentional grown-up man who seems angry with what he has seen in these 11 years. He writes with pure vengeance and has gotten rid of any niceties that he might have had earlier, knowingly or unknowingly. He diagnoses and intellectually destroys the ideological disease called Nehruism, which has been called by many other names in different decades, but one whose source Goel traces to Jawaharlal Nehru. The casual misinformed secularism, the inferiority complex unfoundedly peddled as humility, phobia of the word Hindu, and general generalizations of any politically pro-Hindu voice or movement as communalist, all of which can be word for word observed in many Indians to this day, a phenomenon that advocate Deepak would call coloniality. What is perhaps even more interesting is that he observes and heavily criticizes Nehruism even among Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, the RSS, VHP, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and other groups who are in the current setting known to be vehemently against Nehru and everything that could be termed Nehruism. He points out flaws, weaknesses, and lack of courage in their actions. He specifically repeatedly mentions a leader in those parties as a windbag, who my guess was meant for future Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee.